This is Nelson Bonilla with Legacy Outdoor Living, and today we are on day one of the Anthony and Mindy project. Anthony and Mindy purchased this roughly 10,000 square foot place a few years ago, and they've been spending all their time making the inside theirs, just putting some personal touches. They finally got to the outside, and that's where we enter. We're going to upgrade the landscaping in the front. Obviously, we're going to add a lot more color, contrasting texture, and some depth to really complement the house. We don't want to take away from it. We just want to add some nice color to an already beautiful place. Here comes the tough part. They had a series of walls built because of how big and how the terrain changes. However, whoever built the walls failed to do some very paramount or failed to incorporate some huge aspects. Number one is, of course, a properly functioning French drain. So they failed there. So the wall from day one was compromised. So we're going to come in. You can see we've already started digging out all the debris and making sure that we drop in our French drain, because all of that moisture was seeping through the front, and you can see all of their paint and stucco just started peeling off right away. You can see all the cracks in the stucco, which I'm being very nice, they actually didn't use stucco, they just used mortar. And because there were so many breaches in the wall behind it, all of that moisture just continued to penetrate the wall to the point where none of the mortar would adhere, and it just started peeling off immediately. So as I peel off this mortar, we can still feel the moisture behind that, and that's just unacceptable. So Legacy Outdoor Living, of course, is going to remedy that, and we're going to pick an actual stucco to finish it off. And of course, Anthony and Mindy get to choose the color and texture, but it's a very impressive wall. I don't mind the stonework that was done. It just never had a chance to live a long and sturdy life. So that's wall number one. There was another series of walls constructed back here, and they failed to do the same thing. They failed to do or to install any properly functioning French drain. So of course we have to dig everything up and reinstall one to make sure that all of that surface and saturated water do not push and compromise our walls. Now, the modular block they're using is one of my favorites, actually. It's an 18-inch modular block, and to the average person, the block doesn't look that bad. However, if you look closely, all of that discoloration is not part of the stone or the color. That's actually mud that seeped through the wall because we didn't have the proper filter. So we're going to, of course, remedy that. We're going to rebuild this wall here and put an ornamental fence right over the top of it. So once everything is done, we'll also update the landscaping back here as well, because there was poor drainage due to these walls. We never had a good surface where we could really hang out without there being standing water everywhere. This backyard was saturated almost every day, whether or not we had rain or not. Also, right outside the kitchen here, we are going to install an elevated deck. Okay, so we'll be able to walk outside the kitchen area, dining room area, right onto an extended deck here. We're also going to step down right about here and provide a floating deck that's going to help us transition to the pool area here. So much more functioning, easy flowing backyard, and we'll have so many areas to hang out. We'll have our primary area above the outside of the dining room on the elevated deck. We'll have the pool area as well And then as a third option, we'll of course have our lower landing. So once we're done with all of the walls, you can see that there are some houses up top there. And during the spring and summer, you can see the coverage is actually pretty good. However, during the fall and winter, you can see directly up there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a series of evergreens on top of that wall to provide us a nice screen, vertical garden backdrop 12 months a year. Of course, we're gonna use our green giant arborvitaes. We're gonna have some ground cover on the very bottom. That's gonna finish that off very nicely. So day one, Anthony and Mindy project. I want to personally thank you guys for trusting Legacy Outdoor Living with your backyard. And this is approximately going to take us about 21 days or so, weather permitting. So we'll give you an update as soon as we can. This is one of our larger projects for sure, but we're extremely excited.